What's up, guys? Welcome to your 147th Android tutorial for the new Boston. What we're going to get into is working with the HTTP client to get some information from the internet and kind of process that information, parse it, and use it to our own benefit. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our new Boston project that we've been working in, and we're just going to right click and create a new class. You know, just the standard stuff you guys are experts at right now. And we're going to call this class HTTP example, and just get our class set up. We also want to set up a layout, so we're going to just do a real quick layout, nothing new. Again, just right click, new Android XML file, and we're going to call this HTTP example or EX, something like that. Hit finish. All we're going to have in this layout is just one text view. We're going to kind of retrieve some information from the internet. So just go into your code, your XML, and just type loading data, and we're going to give this a reference of TV HTTP, something like that. Hit save. We also might want to put a scroll view in there. Think about it. So we're just going to go above our text view and put in a scroll view and give it the reference Android layout height is equal to fill parent, and also Android layout width is equal to fill parent as well. And then we're just going to wrap our text view, so we're just going to cut that and paste below, reformat, make sure you guys have the same kind of look here. So there we go, we have our XML layout set up, pretty basic stuff. Now what we're going to do for this example is we're just going to have this one, our class HTTP example extender activity, import and set up our onCreate method. Again, the boring setup. All I've done is I just set up our class with the onCreate method, set content view to that XML layout we just set up, and we also defined our text view, which I made that reference bridge within our onCreate method. Again, nothing new, but this is going to be our main class where we're eventually going to receive a Twitter message, like your last Twitter post, something like that. But as for now, I just want to get you guys familiar with the HTTP client. That's kind of difficult to say, so you guys try and say that 10 times fast. Let me know what happens. But what we're going to do is we're going to hit right click, create a new class, which is going to handle our get method from our HTTP client. So we're just going to call this get method, something like that. Example EX maybe. Hit finish. And this is a class that we're going to use to get the information from the internet. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to set up a method within this class that's going to return a string, which we're going to change our text view to refer to that string. So we're just going to say public string, because again we're returning a string, and we're going to call this get internet data, and this is going to throw an exception. So now that we have our method set up called get internet data, and this is supposed to be throws. Alright, we're just getting an error because we have to return a string, which we'll get to later. But what we want to do in this class is, or this method is, create a buffered reader, which I'll explain in a second. We're just going to set this equal to be null, and we're going to call that buffer reader in. And we're also going to create a string, and we're going to say this is our data, and we're going to set this equal to null as well. Control Shift O to add our imports, which is our buffered reader. And then what we're going to do is we're going to try to connect to the HTTP client. I always wonder if I am saying that right or not. So let's set up our HTTP client, and we're going to call this just like client, something like that, pretty standard. We're going to set this equal to the new default HTTP client, just the default HTTP client. And what this is going to allow us to do, and just make sure you spell that right, and what this is going to allow us to do is allow our application to process information that's not built internally. So we can rely more on the website and just get some information from the website and instead of trying to handle all of the data, all the information within our app. So that's what a HTTP client will allow us to do, basically reference the internet. So that's the basic setup for this tutorial. Obviously we still have quite a bit to go, but I'll catch you guys in the next tutorial, and I'll see you guys then. Have a good one.